I think I might have scored a pretty good deal here. These are forklift batteries that John had. He had purchased an electric forklift that wasn't performing at peak power any longer, and a new battery pack would have been too expensive. So he bought the thing and brought it home, and then he was able to pull this battery pack out. And if you notice, he's severed the bars that were once tying all these things together, similar to this one here. And so he was able to pull all these out, and he actually drilled some holes and put some lags to pull these actually out of the container that they were in. There was this big heavy metal container, and that allowed him to get these out of the container. And we've tested these, and they have he's had them up to full voltage last year, and now they've dropped down to 1.9 volt per cell, which is a little low actually. I think full charge is 2.1 volts per cell. Now if you were to hook these together in a 12 volt battery bank, I think we figured around 11.5 volts or something around there, which is pretty darn low. I mean, we want to get a charge on these as soon as possible, and they're a little bit low on water, but all in all, I think they're in fair shape. And the good thing about these batteries is we have 18 of them. So yeah, a pretty good score, I would say. You know, that's the thing, you know, with off-grid living is I'm constantly striving for energy independence and complete independence from the rest of the world, really, because as you guys know, things are pretty sketchy out there, and it's always good to have a backup plan, you know. And the problem, I think, with a lot of America and a lot of the world for that matter is that there's too much dependency on other parties, and there's not that self-reliance that, you know, America once had, that a lot of these other countries, you know, that taking pride in self-reliance. And I know many countries in Europe had that same self-reliance, in Africa and Australia, and, you know, that pioneering spirit where one could set out and you know, and grow a garden and build his own house and not really be that dependent on anybody else. If they needed wild game, they could go get it. You know, if they needed some vegetables, it was out there in the field. And it was very important to these people to have that independence and to be able to just go out in the garden or go in the cellar or you know, whatever, and have their food and have their firewood and have everything set aside, you know, their form of heat to heat their houses. You know, right now we're dependent upon propane, and so we used to heat our house with wood, and then I took it out because propane was just, quite frankly, a heck of a lot cheaper than wood. And then, but look what position that's put me in now, because propane is going to probably cost me a small fortune, and that's the problem, because if I had stayed dependent upon my source of wood, you know, even though I was spending more for wood, I do have a local supply that, you know, I can go out and get, which, you know, before I was just too busy, and it was just about convenience. And that's really how we've set ourselves up in life, is that we just go purely by convenience and not by principle or by any kind of a contingency plan for redundancy whatsoever. So that puts, you know, that puts us in a position where we're very vulnerable, you know. If there's a food shortage, if the electrical grid goes down, you know, how are we going to pump our water? How are we going to feed our children? That type of thing. So that's the direction I'm constantly trying to go in, and quite frankly, that is sort of the purpose of my whole channel too. You know, Off-Grid 406. You know, it's off-grid living, and I'm currently in Montana, but there's people all over the world. I've met quite a few people. I've even met people in Jamaica that are going off grid and are storing food, you know. And Jamaica is not, as you know, is not a very wealthy country, but they're managing to do it. And a lot of other people in different countries. I've met people from Africa, from South Africa, that are doing the same type of thing. They're gathering their solar panels, you know, for their lighting and charging phones and laptops and stuff. You know, the modern house does not need a lot of electricity to really live in, especially with all the options that we have. You know, I even built a wood-fired water heater in California, and probably something I should be working on here as well. I had my house set up here. That's the other thing. I had it set up where the sun and my fireplace was heating my water, and now I no longer use that system. You know, it's all propane. And so there again, it's back to that. It's back to that reliance on fossil fuels and that third party that really screws us. And so, but anyways, thanks for listening to my rant. Yeah, we'll maybe talk about that some more another time. But yeah, a real score on the batteries, and just gets me that one step closer. You know, because now that gives me a little redundancy. I have the one battery bank, and now this gives me an additional battery bank. And so, you know, and with our greenhouse finished, we're going to start growing some veggies in here, and that's going to extend our growing season. We can get a lot more tomatoes that way. You know, last year we did some tomato canning, and that really helped out because we had never really tried it before. But you know, our neighbor was growing so many tomatoes and having such great success. He was bringing these huge bags of tomatoes by, and so we just started learning how to just can them, and it turned out to be a really easy thing to do. And so we had a bunch of jars. You know, my wife, she saves all of her mayonnaise jars and all of the pickle jars and any kind of jars that she has. Most of them will fit a standard lid, you know, a canning lid. And so we have like tons of jars, and plus jars that we've purchased over the years too. So we don't have a whole lot invested in it, but we had the supplies last year, and I was surprised. We probably made about 25 quart jars of tomato sauce, and I thought, well, this will last us all year. Well, guess what? We just started finding uses for it everywhere, and we were going through it like mad. And the next thing you know, I mean, I wish we would have put away 200 jars of tomato juice, or, you know, tomato sauce that we were making. It was like a marinara sauce. It was just a real simple, you know, rendering down of the tomatoes. It takes about 100 tomatoes to make about 6-quart jars, you know, but we were getting that many. And so this year we've got lots of tomatoes planted. Just, you know, just that constant move towards independence. And if something, God forbid, was to really happen, something bad, you know, then we'd have something to fall back on. And so, but that's my plea to all you guys out there as well. You know, start just working towards it. It's never too late. Work towards that goal. Don't wait until it's too late to, or you're relying upon you know, your self-sufficiency when you really haven't done much for self-sufficiency. You know, get out there and start, you know, purchasing items that you can tuck away, some water, get a plan, all those types of things. So, all right, that's enough out of me. So anyways, if you guys wouldn't mind, hit that like button, subscribe. That helps me out tremendously. Best way to support my channel, actually. And I hope I've earned that subscription and that like from you as well. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.